Welcome back to Project Breakthroughs. I'm Dave Dubay, and in this video I want to talk about mindset health. Your mindset is really what's going to define your life and get you from where you are to where you want to be and the desired outcomes that you have for yourself and your life. And if you don't have a desire for greatness or desire for greater things in your life, you're not going to accomplish those things. You're not going to get further ahead. And the reason for that, a lot of it has to do with the fact that you haven't primed or prepped yourself for these things. And mindset is a great prepper for success. And it's also a great way to find, doom and gloom and failure faster as well. Because really what it comes down to, mindset has a lot to do with how ready you are for things to happen that aren't in your control. And the stronger your mindset is, the better optimized you are for those things. And I learned this in 2009 when my mother was diagnosed with cancer for the first time. And I remember my mom calling me early in the morning, and I woke up to her phone call, answered the phone. I was like, hello. And my mom's like, David? I was like, yes, mother. And she said three words that, they transformed me instantaneously. She said, I have cancer. And I remember going from that dazed state to I sat straight up in bed and I was ready for the day instantaneously. My adrenaline was pumping through me and I literally launched into my closet, threw clothes on, and within 15 minutes I was at my mom's doorstep. And I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared mentally like I should have been. I wasn't prepared. I just wasn't prepared. She wasn't prepared either. No one was in this situation. But that versus the second time she was diagnosed, I was well prepared. I was well prepared because I had faced this problem once before, so had she. But even beyond that, I learned a valuable lesson in 2009 through 2010. And that was, you will never always be prepared. You won't be prepared financially. You won't be prepared. You may not be prepared mentally or emotionally. You may not be prepared with your home, with a will, with all the things that you probably should have ready, because you don't think of those things until it's too late. The idea is that goes along with this is how many systems make up the human body? I talk to people about this all the time. I said people get things, but they seldom understand them. Well, and they're I don't know. Some say 200, some say 5. Well, the answer, if you go on Google, it's going to say 12. And, it's the muscle, the respiratory, the reproductive, your nervous system, et cetera, your endocrine, et cetera, right? There's your digestive. We have all these systems to make up the human body, but you never think of those systems until they go completely wrong, until you need the system to work again. And so once your systems aren't out of control, you're not thinking about them. So when a system is out of control, you now think of that system. And so most people aren't prepared for health issues because we don't think of it. And so to have a good mindset and a healthy mindset is to be prepared for the unpreparable, essentially. The saying goes, expect the best, plan for the worst. And most people don't actually live by this rule. And the reason is because we don't expect the worst. And that's what I'm trying to get at with this, is your mindset can help you do that. So I learned, the second time my mom got diagnosed with cancer, I already knew that there was a goal in mind. And that goal was set already. I didn't have to think about the goal. I knew the goal was there. So let's just say, this is a hiccup in life. Well, if my mom didn't make it through her second round, the second time she got diagnosed with cancer, I was still going to be okay because we were more prepared because of the first time that she went through cancer. Okay? So I had to go through a first one to figure out I could get through a second one, to figure out I could get through the third one where my mom actually didn't make it. But I knew I'd make it through because I knew that I had a goalpost that was further down the road. And so there's several things to set yourself up for success in the mind. One is literally, and this is one of the most difficult things for anyone to swallow. It's one of the most difficult things for me to say to anyone, and that is this: we are born to die. We're going to say it again. We are born to die. I'm going to die. You will die at some point. All of us will die at some point. Tomorrow is not promised to me. It's not promised to you. It's not promised to anyone. That one thing alone should drive you forward. That one thing alone should set your mind in a path where you want your successes greater than you want anything else in life. The problem is that doesn't do it for people. So we have to talk about other things when it comes to mindset. All of the other things that come to mindset are being prepared for the worst, expecting the best. There is that thing. The other thing when it comes to mindset is knowing that you aren't always right. I am not always right. In fact, most of the time, on average, I'm roughly 50-50. But that also means that other people are also 50-50. They're not always right either. Sometimes people are like they're 33%. Sometimes they're 22%. Sometimes they're like 5% right. It's fine. But it's your mindset that's going to get you out of that problem. It's the not focusing on the disaster that's going to get you out of the problem. There's this idea that a gentleman you may know, Anthony Robbins, talks about often, and he talks about a situation where he learned how to drive a race car. And in learning to drive a race car, what they would do is they do purposeful like skids or like lose control of the vehicle. And when you lose control of a vehicle, what do you often do? You stare at where your vehicle is moving. Okay? I remember hearing this, I don't know, it was like maybe 2001, I heard it, 2002, where he talked about this. Look at where you want the car to go. If you're in a skid and your car is out of control, look at where you want the car to go. And after that, like I started driving in 1996. It tells you how old I am, right? And I've lost, because I lived in a state where there was lots of snow and lots of sometimes crappy weather, I've lost control of many a car on the road. But I've kept my car on the road like 99% of the time. And the reason is because I looked at where I wanted to go. I heard that advice and I took that advice and I heeded it in my life. I utilized it in my life. So every time I lost control, I looked at where I wanted to go. So I'm losing control, I'm doing a slide, so I'm moving sideways. I will turn the wheel the other way and I will look at where I want to go. Because I know that is literally where I need to go. And that's going to save not only me, but it's going to save my car, my vehicle, or anyone who's in the vehicle with me. And that has saved me many times. So your mindset enables you to literally look at where you need to go as opposed to focusing on the problem at hand. There's always a way out. And I also want you to know this. There's always another side of the story. There's your side of the story, there is their side of the story, and then there's the truth. My truth is what I tell you, but that's not always the truth that you hear. That's not always the truth that you need to hear. There's one last aspect I want to talk about when it comes to mindset, and that is beliefs. We believe certain things. There's 4 stages to these beliefs. This is something also I learned from Anthony Robbins ages ago. And it all starts with, so you have an idea. The idea you put into action, so you take action on the idea. You get a result, and that result gives you, right, that action gives you a result. That result gives you a belief about that action. So there's 4 parts to this. So if your result is less than your desired result that you wanted, then the likelihood of you taking another action in that same vein goes down dramatically. You're less likely to take action on it. So Anthony Robbins, as well as myself, would recommend this. Imagine the result you want. Imagine it greater than doing anything else. Imagine it. Don't do it, imagine it. Your body does not know the difference between imagination and reality, because your body doesn't know the difference between that. Your body can believe your imagination, which means you, before going in, even taking action on this and getting a result from it, your belief is already going to be skyrocketed in place of doing an action, getting a result, and then having it be less than you want, so then your ability to act on it goes way down. Does this make sense? I hope this makes sense, because if you already believe internally that doing this action is going to get you a greater result, then the likelihood too is, if you have that belief already, the amount of action you put towards it is going to be greater anyway. And because you put greater emphasis on it, because you already have a belief that that result's going to be greater than, even though your results might not be as great as you imagined, it'll still be greater than if you had not imagined it at all, which is to your benefit in doing that. So, one last thing on beliefs is this. Don't be adherent on beliefs. What do you mean, David? Well, we have expectations. We also have beliefs that aren't our beliefs, they're other people's beliefs. I'll give you an idea. You might already think you're a failure in life, but why do you believe you're a failure in life? Is it because it came from you, or it came from someone else? Is that an original thought from you, or is an original thought from someone else? Because oftentimes we hear other people in our heads. Like, we hear our mom telling us that we won't succeed, or we hear our teacher of ours saying, you'll never amount to anything. We hear someone else saying these things, and we then believe them, even though it didn't even come from us. It came from someone else. So we then accept their belief as our own, when it's not our own. It didn't come from us. It didn't originate from me. It originated somewhere else. Because it originated somewhere else, I've now accepted it as mine. And so when I go to do something, I'm telling myself in my head, well, I'm not going to be successful at this. This isn't my reality. This isn't true for me. And then what's going to happen? We're going to net very little results in our action, because we're not going to put as much towards it, because we already don't believe it to be true for ourselves. So the idea is this. Ask yourself, is this really my belief? Is this really my thought? Did I originate this thought in my head, that I believe that I'm not worthy, that I'm not valuable, that I'm not good enough? Is this making sense? Did that belief originate from me? The benefit, and the best way to do this, is to write it out. What are the beliefs? Why do you believe them? Write them out. If you write out your beliefs, like success. What is my belief on success? What is my belief on personal success? And you write these things out, and you get them outside of yourselves. What's going to happen is you're going to figure out whether or not that belief came from you or came from someone else by writing it out, or having a discussion with yourself, or maybe even with someone else who you would consider an expert in this area. Because when I've had discussions with my clients about these things, and I've found out that that's not their original belief, that they often argued with their parents, and their mom or their father or their teacher or someone who influenced their lives told them that they would never amount to anything, and then they happened to then just accept it as their own belief later on in life. So as a child they heard these things, or as an adolescent or as a teenager in school, they were told, well, you're going to suck at this. You already suck at this now, so you're going to suck at this in the future. So because it's one teacher, one person who innocuously said something, we end up believing it, and it screws us up later on in life. Now that you've processed all these things, and you have this discussion, whether it's with yourself, with an expert, someone you trust, you go through your belief structure, and you decide that's not a belief that's mine, and then you write out the belief that you want for yourself on those things in personal terms, meaning like, I am a success because I say I am, I know I am, I have. And then you can write out the successes you've had. Like, what have you done that's been successful? And if you write those things out, then you're more apt to believe those successes, because you're compounding the results of those successes by writing out the successes you've already had. And a success is as easy as, I'm writing this right now. That's a success. I'm already adopting new beliefs into my life as I write this. This is a success. That's a success. I'm watching this video. This is a success to me, because I'm actually accomplishing something that moves me in the direction that I want. I am doing these things because this is moving me in the direction I want of success. So these are things that are powerful that you can do to decipher whether or not the belief was original to you or not, and then break it down and then write the beliefs that you want to be yours, write those down, and then begin to believe those beliefs because they are now true for you. Read them every single day in the I am sense. I am a success because of, I'm reading this today. I believe I am successful because I, XYZ. You fill in the blanks for why you are a success, why you should feel as successful as you are, because you are successful. No one said, and the other thing is, yesterday isn't today. Why is today a gift? Because it's the present, right? It's the now. Tomorrow's not promised you, so you might as well be a success today because tomorrow's not promised you anyway. There's so many parts of this. Like, okay, so A, is it your belief? If it's not your belief, what do you want your belief to be? And then believe that. Is it a conversation you've had with yourself or someone else has had with you? So, with that being said, I'm David Dubay with Project Breakthroughs. If you, my friend, have gone through these things and believe things about yourself that weren't true, let me know. Share below. What are those things? I want to hear what your lack of beliefs have been. Right? If you've been in hardships like I talked about earlier in the video, share those with us. Let's be a community. Let's talk about this stuff. Let's let this stuff out. Let's not hold on to things. Let's move on from things. Anyway, I'm Dave Dubay with Project Breakthroughs. I'll catch you in the next video.